Okay. Hi, everybody. Pardon me. Welcome to this morning's session of meditation. If you have any questions at all, just go ahead and put them in the chat, and I will do my best to answer them. Okay. Pardon me. Mm, okay. Now, all right. Get a few things settled here as I'm waiting for more people to come. And I need to draw up one thing, and then we can start. Okay. All right. Not coming up for some reason. Okay. That's fine. We will deal. All right. So, hey, Tim. Hey. Do you have any questions before I start? I'm getting the peach ball. All right. What's going on here? Hold on. Technical difficulties. All right. Eileen. Hi. 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 Anybody have questions this morning? Mm, No questions from Tim. Okay. All right. So let's begin. Um, we want to start as usual by just settling in, getting the mind and body in the same place, right? Just calm down, take a few breaths, be here and now. So, hey, Tess and Lucy. Um, so we're going to start with our bodhicitta motivation. Bodhicitta is a Sanskrit word meaning awakened mind heart. And what it means is the wish to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all other sentient beings. So it arises from compassion, seeing the suffering of others, and wisdom, knowing the cause of that suffering, and that enlightenment is the way to remove that cause. So we think of beings who are suffering, and there are unfortunately always beings who are suffering. Today, given the events, the recent events in uh, Minneapolis, I really want to focus on the suffering of everyone involved, especially those who were killed and their friends and families, but also all the people who are living in fear because of this decision by the administration. Um, it's a it's a terrible, terrible thing, and a terrible direction that this country seems to be moving in. So we want to really generate compassion again for those who died, for the um, people who are uh, separated from their families, children and parents, for those who live in fear, who just want to work and survive and live, and for the protesters who are putting in so much effort to change things and putting themselves at risk to change things. We want to have compassion for them too. And we want to have compassion for the people who are committing these atrocities, um, because we understand that there will be a very strong karmic result for that, which will not come out well for them. And we don't think that with glee or joy, but with compassion and understanding that all the suffering that we experience is a result of our own actions. So, with that in mind, wanting to free everyone from suffering, we try to have bodhicitta as our motivation, at least the motivation that the time we spent together this morning benefits not only ourselves, but others as well. Pensando Sangarabshiri Santama Karajapani Shuna. Soso Ratatinka Saso Katera Manamanaso Wade. Omin Chikinki Pojane, Sunsange Quinding or 1 year and Sanchugunis to Sepa. Sawiname Shabla so wade. Okay, so today I want to discuss compassion in action. So we work on developing in our own mind and heart um, compassion for others, compassion for not just those that we love, but those that we consider bad or wrong or our enemy. Also for strangers, and it's quite a challenge even on the cushion to develop that kind of compassion because we're not used to it. We're used to having compassion for little puppies and, our friends and our loved ones, and, kind of forget everyone else, right? Well, this is very different. It's the instruction, the aim is to have the same compassion for all beings that we have for our dearest loved ones. And when we consider, like earlier when I said, oh, we should have compassion for the perpetrators, we might, kind of freeze up a little bit thinking about that. Well, why? They're doing wrong. They shouldn't be doing these things. It's evil, etc. It's extremely important to understand that having compassion for someone doesn't mean that we excuse or accept what they do. Eh, In a way, it has little to do with what they do. It's more about where we are coming from. Yeah. Um, you can say these, I'm avoiding saying the name because I don't want to uh, get this video taken down. So, but you know who I'm talking about. Um, as I said earlier, there's karmic results for our negative acts. And that's why we have compassion. And also that negative acts, such as what these are doing, um, arises from one's own suffering. Now, that may seem a bit odd in this particular situation, but if you break it down and think about that, you know, there are some who have joined this organization in the hopes of getting a lot of money, and they need money, and they're concerned for themselves or their family, and maybe they don't really want to do it, but they need this money, and it's easy money, and they're hiring anybody with 2 legs, apparently. So there are those people. So that their suffering is that, right? Not having money, maybe feeling torn or conflicted, about joining this organization, but joining anyway because of that. And then there are those who join out of hatred, right? They hate immigrants, they hate brown people, um, they hate, you know, libs, right? And so for them, this is a kind of outlet for their hatred. And that hatred in and of itself is suffering. Yeah. And there's this massive ignorance that is involved in that, right? Where they are kind of swallowing the propaganda whole and are not really looking into reputable sources for information. And, I'm sure if you spend any time online, you see it yourself. Well, why don't they just follow the law, kind of idea. But it's not as simple as that. I don't need to go into it all. You can look it up yourself, but you know what I mean. So this mixture of ignorance and hatred is particularly lethal, yeah, and very, very dangerous, as you see. There are some who join because they feel very insecure and they want power. They want power over others. Maybe they tried to join the police force but failed. Maybe they're just looking for a place to feel big and strong and important. That is also suffering. Yeah? So that's what we mean when we talk about kind of negative acts done with out of is because those people are suffering. And it's not obvious to us just to glance and say, oh, yes, they're suffering. But if we think about it in the way that I just described, it becomes quite clear that they are suffering and they're doing this out of suffering. Really, every single thing that a sentient being does, okay, um, is out of a wish to be happy and wish to avoid suffering. Yeah. Even scratching my nose. I don't want the suffering of that itch staying there, so I'm going to scratch it. Yeah. I don't want, I feel suffering, frustration at maybe my neighbors doing something I don't like. So I call the police on them, or I'm afraid. That's another reason, that people might do something like this is fear, because they've been fed all this propaganda that's telling them that all of these brown people are rapists and murderers, and they're stealing your job and taking the resources of the country, which is absolutely not true. They're paying taxes. If they are undocumented workers, they're still paying taxes, but they get no benefits from those taxes. So they're paying into the system and they're really not taking out of it. So um, this kind of fear is also a motivator for negative acts, whether that is, killing someone or um, any number of things that people do that are negative out of fear. And that fear can be um, a fear for one's safety. It can be fear of being found out, or, having done something very bad. It can be um, fear of change. It can be a lot of things. Yeah. So fear is another motivating factor there. So, as a bodhisattva is someone who has taken the bodhisattva vow, where they vow to return to cyclic existence um, until all beings are free. So it's quite a big vow. And we talk about all sentient beings. Yeah. We don't say all sentient beings except this group of people, or all sentient beings except Janet, right? You know, I mean, it's all means all, every single one. So if we want to progress on this path and we want to help others to remove their suffering, then we need to learn to have compassion for them. Yeah. And it's not something made up, it just requires us to think for a few minutes. I mean, it took me like 2 minutes, to think of all those examples of why someone might join this kind of organization out of suffering. Yeah. Um, so when we're talking about compassion, as I said, it's compassion for all, but it's if we're developing compassion, it doesn't mean that we don't do anything else, that we avoid compassionate actions because, oh, I'm developing compassion on my cushion. Compassion in action. Yeah. So compassion in action can be a lot of different things for different people, depending on your capabilities, depending on your talents, depending on the time you have, your life situation, and all kinds of things. So there are some very easy things that people can do, like myself, because I can't march because I have a hard time walking. So that's out, but I could call my representatives. I could donate. I could write letters. I could, you know, talk to other people about it. Um, just give whatever kind of support that I can to help change things. Yeah. And when we do those kind of things, it's very important that we do these things with a gentle heart, with a loving and compassionate heart. And that is the problem often with protests, is there's so much violence, not outer violence, but violence in the heart, hatred in the heart. Yeah. So if we're trying to change a situation that contains a lot of hatred with hatred, it's not going to work. I mean, it may work temporarily, but ultimately what we're doing there is just adding more hatred into the world. What when we're trying to, have less hatred in the world, yeah. And again, this can be a touchy subject for some people because they feel a righteous anger. Yeah. I'm angry about this. It's not just, it's unfair, it's wrong. Yes, it's wrong, it's unfair, it's unjust. But that doesn't mean that we have to hold on to our anger about it. You see what I mean? Instead of focusing on, I'm angry and no, 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 we should focus on, I have compassion for these people, right? I have compassion for the victims and I want them to not suffer anymore. Therefore, I'm going to go out and march or whatever else people do. Yeah. Then we're doing the same thing, but with a heart that is full of love and compassion instead of a heart that is full of hatred and anger. Yeah. Shantideva talks about this in his book, The Way of the Bodhisattva, in the sixth chapter on patience, which deals with how do we deal with our anger. And, he talks about that. He's like, he sort of presents different arguments, and one of them is this, like righteous anger. Yeah. And he's like, how is your anger going to help this situation? Right. If you are trying to, I mean, he puts it differently, but the point is kind of you're trying to put love and compassion in the world, but you have this hatred because of something unjust. You're not helping the situation essentially, and you're not helping yourself, just creating more negative karma for yourself. And again, adding this kind of negativity into the world. I'm cringing a little bit because his writing is so beautiful, and they took this beautiful writing and kind of made a, I don't know, comic strip out of it. But anyway, you get the point. So, on one hand, we should do everything we can to help others, um, help our country, help victims, support people who are being oppressed. Definitely, we should do whatever we can to help change that. At the same time, we should be aware, look into our own minds and hearts and make sure that we're coming from a place of love and compassion and not from a place of hatred and anger. Okay. So we can train ourselves to notice what's happening in our mind, through meditation, through different mindfulness practices during our day-to-day life, and um, developing compassion even for so-called enemies through practicing Tonglen, or the practice of exchange, which we'll be doing today, both of those things today. Um, so yeah, and then also our own practice, our own formal practice, even though we might not see the results of that, even though it's not something concrete, um, the more we practice, especially if we're doing that practice with a bodhicitta motivation, the more wisdom and love and compassion we're putting out into the world. whether we realize it or not, whether we see it or not. So that too is something very important. Yeah. So I think that's it, unless you guys have any questions. I'll wait a moment for you to put in questions. Okay, no questions. So, all right, so let's do some meditation. So we will begin with mindfulness of breathing practice, and I'll explain how to do that. I'll explain the posture to you. And I want to remind you that this practice is, first of all, a practice. So we're not going to necessarily be perfect right out of the gate or even after years of practicing. And that the essence of this practice is the Tibetan word for meditation is gom, Gom. And gom means to get used to become familiar with. So I think it's important to remember this kind of practical side of meditation so that we can kind of merge with it more. Because if we think of meditation as something outside of ourselves, or if we think of meditation as something extremely special or exotic, right? Um, then we're kind of separating ourselves from the meditation, and we're sort of adding attention to it, right? If we just think of it as getting used to something, getting familiar with something, then it's something that's much more like digestible and something that we can relate to more. We don't need to make such a big deal about it. So I see you have a question there, but I just want to finish this explanation. So um, if we, so what are we getting used to? What are we becoming familiar with? In mindfulness of breathing practice, we are becoming familiar with the mind in the state of awareness and the mind in the state of distraction. So we're in part practicing noticing when we are distracted. So that's the first. And we sort of see, oh, here's my mind in a state of awareness. Oh, this is what it feels like when I'm distracted. So that's one thing. The other is we are practicing bringing the mind back from distraction. Okay. So we get distracted and then we're kind of like this awareness arises and oh yeah, I got totally distracted, and we bring the mind back. And we do that usually many times in the course of a meditation session. The other thing is that, as we keep this posture that I will explain, we're trying to just keep our awareness at the sensation of the breath coming in and out of the nose. And we're trying to maintain continuous awareness of that and letting the thoughts come and go, come and go, come and go on their own without getting caught up. Okay. And the more we do that, the more we start to understand that we are not our thoughts and emotions, and that we are not obliged to follow all of these thoughts and emotions. Yeah, we can choose. This meditation shows us, like experientially, and not just through words or books or whatever. It shows us experientially, I am not my thoughts and emotions. These thoughts and emotions are just energy. They're just clouds moving through the sky. So we're not trapped anymore. We're not enslaved by our thoughts and emotions. We get to choose how to respond rather than just having a knee-jerk reaction to everything. So this is kind of the process of getting used to, right? Getting used to what's happening in our mind, getting used to noticing what's in our mind, getting used to bringing the mind back from distraction. Okay, great. Tess, maybe for compassion, then against them. Oh, she retracted her message. Okay. Um, maybe for compassion rather than against them. I don't really understand. Different energy. I wish we, yeah, could talk because this is a little difficult. Okay. I don't really know what you mean. That's, I'm sorry. But anyway, let's get on with the meditation. Okay. So the posture. If you're sitting in a chair, you just want your feet flat on the floor in front of you because that will help with keeping your spine straight. If you're sitting on a chair or on your bed on the floor, I'm sorry, if you're sitting on your bed or on the floor, then you just want to cross your legs in whatever way is comfortable for you. And then your hands can be either palms down on your knees or palms up one on top of the other like that in your lap, or with your fingers on top of each other and thumbs stretching like that, like you're holding an egg. Okay. So back is straight but relaxed. Back of the neck is also straight, so your chin's going to be tucked in a little bit. Arms are relaxed. Shoulders are back a bit. Mouth is closed but relaxed. Tongue resting on the roof of the mouth. Breathing through the nose. The eyes are open, looking down, like half closed, let's say. Looking a few feet in front of you with a relaxed, unfocused gaze. Okay, so that's the posture. Then bring your awareness to the sensation of the breath coming in and out of the nose. So kind of focusing at the end of the nostrils. Take a moment to notice that sensation, please. Okay. So what we want to do again is to maintain continuous awareness of that sensation while letting the thoughts come and go as they will. And then when we get distracted, simply bring the mind back to that sensation of the breath. Okay? So please begin that now. Now we begin to count the breaths counting either every in-breath or every out-breath for a total of 10 complete breaths. Counting is a tool that helps us to realize more quickly if we've gotten distracted because we will have lost count. If you are feeling very speedy, you want to put your hands on your legs, thumbs down, close your eyes for a bit, make the room a little darker, a little warmer, put on a blanket or a sweater. This will help you to relax and calm down. If, on the other hand, you're feeling very dull, you want to put your hands in this position like you're holding an egg. Look up, look into light source, that's the sky or a lamp, to kind of brighten up, make your body cooler, make the room cooler if you can. This will help you to wake up. So again, gonna count the breaths from 1 to 10. If you lose count, no big deal. Just start again at 1. If you get to 10, no big deal. Start again at 1. Please begin that now. Bring the mind back to the breath. Check your posture. Body should be as relaxed as possible while maintaining the posture. Mind should be as relaxed as possible while maintaining awareness of the breath. Okay. Pardon me. So now we are going to move into the Tonglen practice. So Tonglen means uh, giving and taking, right? So what we are giving away is our own happiness, and what we are taking on is the suffering of others. So it might sound a bit upside down, I guess, but um, it's quite it's quite a powerful practice. Okay, um, it turns upside down the tendencies that we have already to kind of put ourselves first, not really think about others, right? We, pardon me, pardon me, my goodness. um, we just have this kind of really strong habit of of um, just thinking about ourselves, you know. So um, this practice kind of turns that on its head so that it's easier for us to develop compassion. So there's 5 stages of the practice, and I'm not going to explain it because I just walk you through it anyway. But there are one thing I do want to explain is there are 4 different types of individuals that we can work with in this practice. One is someone that we love a great deal, and normally we start there. Someone who is neutral to us, so that means like we recognize their face, but we don't know who they don't know them deeply. Like we neither particularly like nor particularly dislike them. So that can be like neighbor or distant relative, this kind of thing. Third is our so-called, what they use the word enemy, which I know that we don't really use very much, but you know what I mean. It's someone that you really dislike, someone you find maybe often someone who has hurt you a great deal, this kind of thing. And the fourth category is oneself, which is very important to develop compassion for oneself. So today we're going to do someone we dislike. We're going to start there. And then we're going to go outward in a bit of a different way. So the third step is working with the individual, and the fourth step is kind of sending it out to all beings, doing the same practice for all beings. In our case, we're going to do this practice for the situation that I described at the beginning with, in Minnesota. Okay. All right. So begin by just resting the mind. Okay, so actually, let's begin by just focusing on the breath for a moment, and we'll rest the mind as I walk you through it. So first of all, just again, you're taking the posture, and this one, if you want to close your eyes the whole time, it's perfectly fine. But bring awareness to the sensation of the breath coming in and out of the nose. Let's start there. Now we want to rest the mind. So resting the mind is just not trying to focus on anything in particular, but also not being distracted. Just let the mind settle into its natural state. So please do that for a moment. Okay. Now we want to imagine in your heart center, so that's the middle of your chest, a very bright white light like a shining star with light going in all directions. And then consider that you're breathing in gray smoke, hot in temperature, heavy in weight, dark in color, through all the pores of your body. All of that smoke dissolves into the white light in your heart center till there's not a single particle of smoke left. There's only light. Now breathe out this white light, cool in temperature, clean, clear, lightweight, very powerful, very bright. Breathe out this white light through all the pores of your body. Now imagine in front of you someone that you dislike. Someone, yes, someone you dislike. Just imagine them in front of you. So right away, you might feel this kind of tightening in your heart. That's okay. That's to be expected. But what we first want to do is kind of break out of this concrete perception of solidity that we have with this relationship. If we think about it, relationships change all the time. In fact, this person may have been our friend at one point, may have been the person that we were in love with, right? So people, strangers become friends, friends become lovers, lovers become enemies, it changes all the time. So we're not stuck as we may perceive. Yeah. And we need to think about this person as just another sentient being. Yeah. And that they themselves have many facets. This person that we dislike, maybe somebody else's favorite person. This person that um, has hurt us, may be very kind to others, their family or their dog or what have you. And as I said earlier, this person's, our perceived, um, our perception of this person having done negative things, that's coming from their own suffering, a misguided attempt to relieve their own suffering by doing negative things. So rather than focusing on the act which harmed us, we want to focus on that person's pain and generate some compassion for their pain. Again, it doesn't mean what they did was okay, doesn't mean that we have to continue accepting that or have a relationship with them or whatever. We're just focusing on their suffering and not just the suffering that led to whatever act they did, but also whatever other kind of sufferings they have in their life. Maybe they're sick, maybe they're afraid, maybe they're grieving or in the middle of a divorce, all kind, whatever it is. Yeah. So we think about their suffering in whatever capacity. And then we imagine that their suffering takes the form of gray smoke, hot, dark, and heavy. And it leaves them and it comes to you. And you breathe that in through all the pores of your body. And all of that smoke dissolves into the white light in your heart center until there's not a single particle of smoke left. There's only light. And then we offer this person your own happiness, your own good fortune, anything at all that they may need to feel better. And adding to that the wish that they attain full and complete enlightenment in this very life. And that takes the form of white light, cool, clean, clear, very bright. You breathe out this light through all the pores of your body. The light goes from you to them, and when the rays of light touch them, all their suffering just disappears, lifts off with them. They feel very happy, peaceful, at ease, and we feel joyful for being able to do this for them. Now we're going to surrender ourselves with everyone affected by this organization, by these policies. In the circle closest to us are those who have died. It's not just those two people. Many people have died as a result of this. And then behind them is another circle of their family, their friends, their children. Mm. We imagine their suffering. Their suffering takes the form of gray smoke. You breathe that in through all the pores of your body. For them, every happiness, every good thing that you have, anything at all that they may need, and the wish they attain full enlightenment. All of that takes the form of white light, cool, clean, clear, very bright. Breathe that out, and when it touches these two circles, all of these people's suffering just lifts off of them. They feel so relieved, happy, at ease. Now a circle around them is everyone who's working to put an end to this. Protesters, politicians, charity organizations, political organizations, what have you. So that's many, many people. I imagine them in another circle all around them. Once again, consider their sufferings, breathing in their suffering in the form of gray smoke. With that smoke dissolving into the white light in your heart center, offering them your own happiness, anything at all that they may need, and the wish that they attain full enlightenment. And you breathe out this white light through all the pores of your body. It goes to all three circles, all of their sufferings. Just the moment the rays of light touch them, their suffering lifts off of them and disappears. And they relax, they feel joyful and happy. Now around them, all of the perpetrators, the agents themselves, the politicians, the businesses, I don't know, who was ever involved in this action. Picture them all around. Focus on their suffering, their hatred, which is suffering, their desire for power, which is suffering, their insecurity, which is suffering, their agitation, which is suffering, their fear, which is suffering. And we think of all of those sufferings along with however else they might be suffering, their family life, illness, what have you. All of their suffering takes the form of gray smoke, hot, dark, and heavy. It leaves them, comes to you. You breathe that in through all the pores of your body. And all of that smoke dissolves into the white light in your heart center until there's not a single particle of smoke left. Then you offer all of these beings your own happiness, your own good fortune, whatever they may need to be free of hatred, anger, fear, etc. All of that taking the form of white and I wish they attained full enlightenment in this very life. All of that takes the form of white light, cool, clean, clear, light in weight, very, very bright. Every pore of your body emanates a ray of white light in every direction, and it touches that circle. And when the rays of light touch all these people, their suffering, their ignorance just lifts off of them. They kind of wake up and they feel really peaceful and happy and at ease and ready to do something different, something positive. And around them, as far as the eye can see in every direction, we imagine all sentient beings without exception. In whatever ways they're suffering, physical, mental, emotional, we imagine that that suffering takes the form of gray smoke, hot, dark, and heavy. It leaves them and comes to you. Without any hesitation, you breathe that in through all the pores of your body. All of that smoke dissolves into the white light in your heart center until there's not a single particle of smoke left. There's only light. And you offer all beings without exception your own happiness, your own good fortune, anything at all that they may need to feel better, and the wish that they attain full enlightenment of this very life. All of that takes the form of white light, cool, clear, extremely powerful, bright. You breathe out this white light, every single pore of your body emanating a ray of this light in every direction as far as the eye can see. And when these rays of light touch all sentient beings without exception, their suffering just lifts off of them and disappears like fog in the morning sun. They feel so happy and relieved and peaceful and joyful. And you feel joyful for being able to do this for them. Let go of the visualization altogether, gently bringing the mind back to the breath and into the present moment, here and now. Now we're going to do the closing prayers, long life for the Dalai Lama and our teachers. And we'll share the screen, but you can download it in the box below. Then after that, we have a few announcements, brief announcements. Kanri wawe kowe shinkam su pendante wa manu juwen shenresi wonten zingyam so ye shabeke kaba tu tenku shi om swaspi jigme kimpe kalong yabaru kagab sechen su sependawa Yidu den sen gain of bucho se shega we shaking tasu so Om Srishti Sevagam Sojana Chinjun Layana Zinda Singh to Pemawa Samsung Nadrika Bota Ten Layana Chantan Shaitan Take Show Lama Kagam Sampo Sawada Chatuka Saving Wasawada Trine Tashingi Basawada Ramadandre Wame Pachingi Lo. So this prayer we say once in English, once in Tibetan. The remaining three we say just in English, and then we say the 100-syllable mantra. By this merit, may all attain omniscience, may defeat the enemy, wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of cyclic existence, may I free all beings. Sonandi tonche sikani, tone nebe dranam panche shing. Keganaji Banon Tupai, Sipe Soledo Doa Shum. May Bodhicitta, precious and sublime, arise where it has not yet come to be, and where it has arisen, may it never fail, but grow and flourish evermore and more. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain and dispel the miseries of the world. Ever absorbed in the display of divine forms in primordial awareness, appearance, sound, and perception in the state of divinities, mantras, and dharmakaya, may I, inseparable from the practice of the profound and secret great yoga, attain within the essence of mind the state of one taste. Om Vajra Sattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajra Sattva Tenopa Tishtadrido Me Bhava Sutokayo Me Bhava Subokayo Me Bhava Anurato Me Bhava Sawasedi Me Prayatsa Sawakama Sutsame Chitam Shriyam Kuru Ha 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 Om Bhagavan Savatata Vajramame Munsa Vajripala Maha Samaya Sattva Om. Okay, so we have Buddha Sadhana tomorrow on Zoom. You can find all the information in the description box below. Um, it's from 11:30 to 12. We do the whole thing in English and Tibetan. Tuku Rinpoche, one of our main teachers, has requested that we do that together. So if you can join us, that would be great. That's tomorrow at 11:30. We have a new class starting in April called Women of Wisdom. Um, as part of our series, The Feminine Force in Buddhism, where we um, cover the topic of women in Buddhism. We have meditation every Saturday. It's always on YouTube. And the second Saturday of the month, it is also in person at the Lakewood Public Library. So you can join us there if you like. Um, if you can offer us some donations so we can keep offering you this service, that would be wonderful. All the info for that is below. Please like and comment and subscribe. It helps bring people to the channel. Share with your friends and family, etc. Sign up for the newsletter, huh? It's really the best way to know what's going on. I also wanted to share with you this dog that I was fostering who is extremely sweet and is still waiting for a forever home. So if you or someone you know would be interested in adopting her. Her name is Ginger. As you can see, she's adorable. She's 4 years old. She probably weighs about 45 pounds. She's had kind of a hard life, but as you can see, like she's a very good girl, very affectionate. Uh, she, this is me trying to meditate. This one, she's just laying all over me here. She thinks she's a lap dog. Um, so she is, what was I going to say? She's still at at um, Cuyahoga County Animal Shelter in Valley View. So, like I said, if you or someone you know is interested in adopting her, can highly recommend her. She's smart, she's funny, she's quirky, she's just a great dog. So, please think about doing that. Okay. All right. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. I really appreciate you. We appreciate you. It's always good to have you. So I hope to see you tomorrow too. Okay. All right. Bye, everybody. Love ya. Thank you.